beginning. I'll give you sort of a Reader's Digest version of where my story began. In about 2007, my husband and I owned a printing business, and we got hit really hard with a recession. And we were struggling to hold on to our home and our business, and it was a really, really rough time. And around that time, I ended up getting this idea for a product, a poncho towel that kids could wear to the pool to wear as a cover-up, and they could also use it to change their clothes underneath and keep them covered, and they could change in privacy.
Which is brilliant.
It really is, because it's not easy to change your kids out in public. And when I was at the pool and I was at the beach, I saw so many people that were just letting their kids go naked. And my kids are a little bit more shy, so I'd kind of wrap a towel tent around them, and then it was sort of hard to do. So I came up with this idea of literally putting a slit in the middle of a towel and putting it over them, and that was sort of a little cover for them to change underneath. Well, it was such an interesting thought that I just moved forward in faith. I didn't have a whole lot of money to pursue this. I was struggling at the time, but I had this burning desire and this feeling within that just said, this idea is for you. The time is now. Move forward. Anything's possible. You can do it. And I'm so glad I ended up following that voice, because another voice in my head was saying, you're such an idiot. This is ridiculous. You've got a towel with a slit in it. You have no money. Wake up. Stop. And I think we all hear those voices, but
yes.
I was really fortunate that I listened to the inner voice, the kinder, more gentler voice of my heart, and I decided to move forward in faith. And within 2 years' time, having little to no resources, I had everything that I needed, and my business had progressed. My towel was selling in major theme parks. I had my towel selling in Legoland, California, and
wow.
Six Flags Magic Mountain, and in Raging Waters. And my towel ended up on the Today Show on a segment called Moms with Good Ideas. And I was so blown away at how all this had happened in 2 years' time, just following this small little idea and this voice of my heart. It was pretty crazy. And not long after that, after the Today Show, I was cast on ABC Shark Tank. And I was on season 3 of ABC Shark Tank. And I'm the only entrepreneur that's ever left that show with a check in my hand. 3 of the sharks fought over me, and one of them said, I actually like you so much that I'm going to write you a check right now for exactly what you're asking for. And I was so blown away by the whole thing. You know, it was the most incredible thing that had ever happened to me in my life in that sort of space. So anyhow, I partnered with one of the sharks in the show, and we agreed to work together. And not long after that, things started to kind of fall apart. And my deal started to sort of fall apart. And I don't know if many people know, but the real truth is that most of the deals that you see on Shark Tank really don't happen. I mean, some of them do, but a good majority of them don't. Okay, so it's really just a reality TV show, which is a great show, and it's great to watch, but you can't really believe everything you see on it, right? So the deal and everything that I was promised ended up getting twisted this way and that way, and things were sort of falling apart. But I kept staying in faith, kept hoping and believing, thinking this is going to work. Once my episode airs on national TV to over 6 million people, everything's going to be great. You know, the sales are going to go through the roof, and I'm going to get all these accounts, and it's going to be great, and I don't have anything to worry about. Well, fast forward, I had to wait 197 days from when I filmed my episode to when it actually aired, which was the most torturous thing I've ever been through.
So that's almost 7 months.
Yeah, it was really, really.
And you couldn't talk about it.
Can't talk about it. I'm just sick to my stomach every day worrying about it. Can't tell anybody about it. It was really, really torturous. And my episode airs to over 6 million people. And it was one of the most special nights of my life. We had all of our family and friends come to our local sports bar, and everybody was cheering me on. We watched the episode together, and they would, the sharks would say something nice, and everybody would cheer, and they'd say something mean, and everybody would boo, and it was just like so awesome. And I hadn't told anyone what happened. And so that when they saw me end up with this check and this deal, the whole place was just raging and screaming, and everybody was crying, and it was just the most incredible, beautiful thing, that has ever happened to me. And interestingly enough, I went from the most exciting moment of my life to a few hours later, almost the most devastating. It was like going as high up as you can go to going as far down as you can go, because I started checking my website and realized that sales weren't coming in. And I just started stressing and panicking. And by the next morning, I realized that I only had 50 orders. And that to me seemed like a colossal failure. Mm-hmm. My product was viewed by 6 million people. I did a really good job. I presented myself and my product really well. I've got a great product. What happened? You know? And I was just so scared. I was stuck in so much fear, because the next day the newspaper was calling me. My friends were calling me. My new partner was calling me. Everybody wanted to know what happened. And I didn't know how to share the news that it was a complete failure, you know? And I was so devastated by it that I just wanted to hide. And I remember the next day waking up and just laying in bed and pulling the covers over my head and laying there and asking my husband just to take the kids. I said, I just need to be alone. I can't, I'm so stressed out. I don't know what to do. And so he did. And I laid there and I cried, and I just kind of heard this inner voice come up and say, Shelley, get up and read your emails. And I said, what? No, God, no. That's the last thing I want to do. I don't want to look at anything right now. I want to hide. I'm hiding right now. No, Shelley, get up and go read your emails. And no way. Leave me alone. I'm hiding. Shelley, get up and read your emails. This may not look like you think it was going to, but that doesn't mean it's wrong. And I was like, what? What does that even mean? You know? But I said, fine. So I got up and I opened up my email and I started reading, and I was absolutely blown away. I had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of emails. Never in my life have I seen emails like this before, that had jam-packed my email with messages full of so much love, messages saying things like, Dear Shelley, I watched you tonight and I cried. You don't understand. I'm you and you're me. Like, the same thing has happened to me. My husband and I, we lost our home in the recession too. But I see what you did with what you had, and if you can do it, then I can do it. You give me so much hope. Thank you. And I was like, whoa. And then the next message, Dear Shelley, my family and I, we were jumping up and down on the couch. Everyone was screaming. We were so proud of you. You did such a good job. You have so much passion, but I lost mine. But you give me hope that I can find it again. God bless you. And on, message after message after message after message. And I sat there just sobbing.
Oh, I bet.
Sobbing, reading. And it's like it finally hit me, my big aha Oprah moment. And I realized, oh my gosh, I wasn't on Shark Tank to sell a towel. I was on Shark Tank to sell hope. Maybe that's what this was all about. And maybe this is never about anything with the towel, because nothing to do with the towel was really working out. But I saw it as such a huge failure. And I felt like such a huge failure in that space, but I didn't realize this wasn't anything to do with the towel. This is about something different, about a bigger plan, a bigger purpose. And once I realized that, I was able to shift back into feeling peaceful again and just feeling hopeful again that, no, there were no mistakes, because there are no mistakes. I really feel that life just has lessons to offer us. And the best thing that we can do when things go right or things go wrong is to say thank you. Because when you're grateful, you know, for something that doesn't go wrong, that doesn't go right, you end up getting the lesson of why it didn't go right. And then you move on and you keep moving forward with that lesson in your back pocket, having learned so much and grown so much. So our failures and our mistakes really are there to aid us and help us to grow.
Right.
Yes.
You know?
And that's the thing we have to remember. But it's okay to be sad when something doesn't work. It's okay to pull the covers up over your head until you until you realize that there's something that should have happened that did happen, even though it's not what you thought would happen. Just exactly what you said. Yes.
Yeah. And it took me time to get to that. I know it said it happened right away. It didn't happen right away. I mean, I had that aha moment right away, but it took me a while to come around, to feeling okay with everything that happens. You see, I was upset for a long time.
Well, you have to grieve. You lost something.
Well, and you were up, and then you were down, and then you had your emails, and you were up, and then, I mean, what a roller coaster.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a roller coaster, and it's been a roller coaster for the last 3.5 years. It still affects me to this day.
Oh, I can't even imagine.
You know, we're in 2015, and I filmed this in 2011. And there are days when I think, oh my gosh, just go away. Don't just leave me alone. Leave me alone. But there are pieces of it that are still there because it really was quite traumatic. But the great thing about it is that since then, I've used this experience to help guide me in a new direction. See? And that's what a lot of times our failures or our quote unquote failures can do is they can just point us in a different direction. And so right now I've realized that I'm not supposed to be manufacturing towels. I think I'm supposed to be spreading hope. So I'm getting credentialed as a life coach, and I'm writing a book, and I am a motivational speaker, and I speak at lots of different venues. And I feel like that's more of where I'm supposed to be. But I wouldn't have known that had I not gone through this failure.
Plus that being on Shark Tank and experiencing what you did in front of so many people gave you an in. I mean, those are huge credentials to walk into someplace.
It did. It very much did. And you know what? The thing is, I may not have gotten the deal that I wanted to on TV, but I did end up getting the perfect deal for me. You know, I never had to give away any bit of my business. I never had to pay anyone money for anything. I own my business 100%, and I still do. And it did give me credentials. I was able to – that show validated my business because I had a product that was brand new on the market, and no one had ever seen it before. And to some people, it sort of appeared goofy, but – because I was on Shark Tank and did receive that deal, it gave validation to what I was doing. And it opened a lot of doors for me. And my product sold in Disney parks. You know, that was huge. I had a dream of putting my product in Disney parks and was told Disney will never look at a product if it's less than 5 years, if the company's less than 5 years old and isn't making millions of dollars. And I was selling my product in Disney parks within 2 years of launching, having only done thousands of dollars in sales. So, it was pretty amazing that happened. The fact that it didn't work out and my product isn't selling at Disney parks anymore, that's disappointing, but that doesn't take away from the fact that I did it.
How many people can say my product sold at Disney parks?
Not very many.
I'm still waiting for the failure.
But, that was a whole nother lesson, the failure of that when a Disney product didn't go through. And that opened all the old wounds because I felt like I was promised that my product was supposed to go there and that everybody sort of dropped the ball. And I felt very let down in that space. But, I just sort of come back to, I know, Shelley, but this is not about the towels. And that's not what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to learn these lessons so that you can teach them. There are no mistakes. A lot of times in life, things don't work out the way we think they're going to. But sometimes, with reflection, we realize they actually work out better than we could have imagined. Different, but sometimes better. And so the best thing you can do is always to say thank you for whatever comes. And to
being
not judge
grateful for failure.
It's true.
And honestly, there's a lot more people in need of hope than there are of towels, to be honest with you today.
Oh, thank you.
So that's a good calling for you.
It's very true, and it's a very powerful calling. And I'm nurturing it every day. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't still completely know where I'm going or what I'm doing, but I wake up and I'm grateful every single day, and I know that I'm headed in the right direction. I know that I'm living my life with passion and purpose. I know what my purpose is, and I ask every day to be used in service, and I'm moving towards that goal. And so in that space, there's no way that I can't get to where I want to go.
Right. You know, in a couple minutes, the music's going to come on, and I'm going to ask you to stay with us. And while we are on commercial break, if you could be thinking of something that you would say to any entrepreneur or any person that